So let's get into this last little thing before we get up out of here. Okay. You know what I mean? We've been doing this joint for about an hour now. But, okay, the best way to capitalize on your music now.
Getting it done. And, if you have an idea to get something finished, it's about just finishing the product and getting it out to the hands that can move it a little further than you can reach. Because I think there are no real best ways, but they're all good ways to get out. Like, the more you reach, the more it's out there.
Yeah.
That's where it's at right now. And I think if you were to choose a record deal to get it out there, they may take away from your creativity to get it further.
Okay. For me, I will say this due to the fact that I myself participate in this. For one, social media, as much as we want to treat it like the enemy, it is our friend. Use every single social media platform you can use. TikTok, you might get 100 views. But on Instagram, you get 500,000. On Facebook, you might get 1 million. On YouTube, you might get 2 million. So,
man,
you have to utilize everything.
You brought up Facebook and Instagram, right?
Yeah, TikTok, YouTube.
Okay, sure. TikTok, YouTube is probably owned by somebody different.
Of course, but like I said, these are all social media platforms that you can build something off of. You know what I mean? Nothing's for free. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put the work in. That's one. Two, networking, and also learning to do these things yourself. The more you know, the more you can keep in your pocket. Definitely. Now, if you don't want to work, like Puff Daddy says and I say, you don't eat.
That's the truth.
You get me?
Yeah.
If you don't work, you don't eat. Now, I can pay you to produce this podcast.
Right?
Right? Mm-hmm. That's money out of my pocket.
Mm-hmm. But if you've learned it yourself,
now
that's money towards your marketing.
Well, I don't need to put no money towards my marketing. I've got Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and these are all free platforms.
They're free to use.
Exactly. All I gotta do is put the work in to make the content pop. Yeah. And you know how I do that? I learn. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah. So if you take time to perfect your craft, Phoebus, you've been producing music for 20 years. You're not the same producer 20 years ago you are today. Why is that?
Oh, because I just, when you, after a certain time, you just don't accept a lower vibration of living. Like, you always expect more out of yourself, especially when it's yourself who's building it.
You don't work, you don't eat. You perfected your craft, and you're still perfecting it.
Still perfecting.
Right? You're still learning
something new.
Exactly. Yeah. So we live in a society where people think things are supposed to be given to them. They don't have to work for them. They just, I just showed up. It's mine. Oh, well, sorry to tell you this, buddy. Put in the work, okay? There's boxers. There's all these other people that are doing things where, yet again, shouts out to my brother, shouts out to DJ 44, shouts out to Dynamite Boxing Club, shouts out to my cousin Da Vinci, shouts out to a lot of people, okay, who, if I told you how many times I wanted to give up on certain things, and the voice in my head, R.I.P. Ma, Chasen, Leaford, Grandma, and thanks to God as well. How many times I let small-minded people push me out of something? Remember I told you that whole Amazon story in my G? You know what I mean? I've got receipts. I thought about that joint before it even happened, and I brought it to some people because I myself didn't want to put the work in by myself. I said, you know what? Let me bring some people together. Let's do it. They told me you're too ambitious. You're too this. You're too that. Now,
but it was only that you were too much for them.
Too much for them, but also I didn't reach out to the right people. I went to people who were in the same situation as me, who had certain things I didn't have that could have helped on the journey, right? But here's the thing, though. I let their small mind thinking trick me, and it tricked them too, out of $500 billion. I let that happen. Like, I'm not blaming them. You know what I mean? I'm blaming myself for accepting what they told me and saying, you're right. I ain't doing that no more.
Yeah, and they
With this
could
whole
have been.
I've been doing this podcast and stuff for 4 years, my G. 3 different platforms. One of them is booming up. I'm figuring things out. But
It's
you
the
know,
work.
It's the work.
Yeah, at the
It's
end
the
of the
work.
Day. So you're saying if you want to go independent, because it sounds like an independent podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
You're gonna have to put in all that work.
All the work. You're gonna have to network. You're gonna have to find people to do things. Even if it's like a friendly exchange, right? Like, look at it this way. Imagine I get beats for you for the intros for podcasts, right?
Sure.
So I do that. In return, you have your own podcast. Now, yeah, of course, it's gonna cost a little bit of money, but the money that I would charge somebody that I don't know that ain't doing nothing for me is gonna be way greater than what I'm gonna charge you. Because guess what? We're working as a unit. So if I'm charging somebody $500 or $1,000 a show, I'm like, yo, my G, just slide me a little $250, man. You be hooking me up with beats. You keep it, and then at the same time, I'm doing that now for other people's podcasts.
Yeah.
Now I can take the beats that I'm buying from you or you're giving me, and I can sell them to them and say, yo, listen, if you need beats, go to Phoebus. Boom. You see that network? You see how that circle works?
I do.
You see what I'm saying? The problem is, everybody wants to be the boss, but they can't be a good soldier. I've been dealing with this for 4 years. Like, I can tell you personally, I've tried to work with so many people and realized that sometimes their agenda and mine don't line up, but they line up with me for that reason because they want to use me for my potential.
That's right.
And once they realize that I've already caught on to the game, they're either ashamed and they distance themselves,
It's the same thing.
Or I myself say, you know what? I'm cutting the umbilical cord.
No,
and I just distance.
Same thing. The Kanye, the Kyrie, it's the same thing. They got hip on they got to the game. The game was given to them, right?
Yeah.
And then they got smarter than where they're playing at, right?
Yep.
And now they're not allowed to play in the game anymore.
Yeah. But they're not allowed to play in that arena anymore. They can still play the game.
That's right.
They just got to figure another way to get the game started again.
Back in the arena or choose a different arena, right?
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. So, I mean, I'm saying the work to be an independent artist is a lot more beneficial.
It's harder and it's more beneficial, but it's also more rewarding.
Yeah, beneficial leads to great rewards, praise God. But I'm saying, like, I'm thinking the record deal is the people you're talking about that don't want to do the work. They want to go for the ride.
Yeah.
But they want to enjoy all the benefits.
Yeah.
So they don't actually have your best interest of
They don't want to be the bus
your
driver.
product.
They don't want to be the bus driver. They want to be a passenger.
That's right.
And you know what? Sometimes it's okay to be the passenger and
Just
then tell the bus driver, yo, listen, I'll take over for a minute. Because everybody's got to play their role.
Or say, you know, I'm going to get off at this stop. I can't go as far as you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish
you know what I mean?
that most passengers.
Or say, hey, listen, I got snaps on the petrol. That is
stuff
contributing.
like that.
You see what I'm saying? But yet again.
But then everybody would be everybody would be a part of the ride or playing their position within the ride. If they just said where they want to be along the journey, you know, some want to get let off early, some want to drive or take over the bus driver, or some want to give snaps on the petrol and say, let's go. Yeah, you're right. But everybody had a position there.
But that's the problem. Like I said, everybody want to be a boss, but they're not a good soldier. For a general, I'm gonna leave. This is gonna be my last thoughts, and I'm gonna let you get off your last thoughts and we go get out of here. Okay, listen. The general of any army started exactly where the grunt started.
Oh, for sure.
So when he tells the grunt to dig the hole, the grunt shouldn't be looking at him saying, "Well, you just got here." No, grunt. Look at his stripes. Not every single general did it that way. So let's not confuse things, okay?
Right.
Okay? Let's be realistic.
Right.
Most generals, they started at the bottom, and they put the work in, they put the time in, they showed the dedication, and they made things happen. So now they're at that position. Now, the way that they treat the grunt, they may treat the grunt differently from the way they were treated. They might not be as soft, but they might be more understanding and more diplomatic in how they assigned things to people. because they realize they are a human being.
Okay.
They can only do so much.
Okay.
But if you don't pull your weight, we will leave you here. And if you say you want to get in the car, don't tell me like Trey, hey, yo, let me out. Because when I let you out, I'm doing 100, and I'm throwing you out that joint. So while you, and I know, yet again, I'm trying to learn this thing called grace. You know what I'm saying? But for some people, they super wicked. And I'm telling you, God don't score me for this. Sometimes their skin has to burn for them to learn. You feel me? I'll give you a little story yet again. I know I'm going on a long diatribe.
No, that was a long diatribe. I thought it was going to be passed over to me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I love motorcycles. I just sold my motorcycle a little while ago. I'm going to get a new one soon enough. I used to start on my motorcycle, boom, boom, pop wheelies, right? And I had a homeboy that was better at it than me. And one day, we over at a little stunting spot, he pop it, like he did his bike up so he can do it. My bike was stock, but he did the same thing on my bike he did on his. I let the devil fool me. I said, man, he ain't sure I'll do the same. Buddy, when I mean I burnt off half my ass cheek out here looking like Mike, and my wife had to nurse me back to health for like a few weeks. I couldn't even go to work, couldn't even sit down, couldn't even joke, couldn't do nothing, rude boy. And I, like when the water hit me on the first day, man, boy, I called out so many names you would have thought me and Lucifer were brothers.
Oh, gosh.
Okay?
Oh, gosh.
But yet again, that just goes to like, you know what I mean? Don't get too ahead of yourself. Always be willing to learn. Always be willing to grow. And always be willing to take people for who they are. That's what I'll leave y'all with. Go ahead, Phebus.
Okay. Yeah. I guess if I'm going to follow up to that, then I would have to say, get a skill set of your own. Because maybe your skill set might not be my skill set.
Mm-hmm.
But with your skill set and my skill set, we can go further.
Yeah.
So if we can understand each other and maybe even seek and know our strengths and weaknesses, if we can be open about that, then maybe we can go further using each other in a way where it's going to benefit both of us. Because we are all different, but we all can be used for one single plan.
Yeah.
That's it.
But like I said, right? Soldier, boss.
Hey,
You know?
remember the 2 seconds? All right, we out of here.
We out of here. Hey, yo, listen, man. Check us out. We will be dropping soon enough on all platforms. You will find us on the YouTube, Balance of Opinions. It is The Collective. It's your boy, King ECG, and my guy.
Bust a bus, Mr. Phebus.
Till next time, people.
Music.